Hey folks, welcome to GLC and to another great lot of the Southwest. You're seeing some familiar faces here today. None other than Rico Cortes and Joe Good. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, doing good.
Hey guys, how
Awesome.
are you? Doing really good. Thank you for having us.
Always. People are excited to see you back on here. And of course, Rico, man, we go a little ways back and there is a lot of excitement about you. There's excitement about what Joe is doing as well. Folks, you're going to be able to see this at the bottom of your screen. There's always new things happening at GLC. The old, so to say, the new, all coming together. And yet God is always doing something new and fresh. And as we go throughout today's show, you're going to see this great app that you've got to get. It's in your app store on your iPhone, and it is the Temple app. And Rico, how long have you had that out? When did you develop that? I'm excited about that. They're going to see it throughout the show. When did this thing start, Rico?
Well, the app and the research is actually done by my teacher who's in the interview today, Joseph Good. Joseph is he's the one who's done all the research for the last 42 years, and I'm sure he can tell you all about that. But I'm only responsible for getting the people that actually created it based on another app they have for free on the internet that we use in one of our courses. And then I reach out to them, and then we got along real well. They're using us as consultants, and then we were able to get the funds to get the app. But in regards to the research, I'm only responsible for a little bit to try to tell Joe to put in the floor because we saw the archaeological evidence, but everything else, I cannot take credit for anything. Joe has done the research for a long time, so he's here to answer that.
Let me add something. It's not only available for the iPhone, it's also available for Android
too, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Android, iPad, and also Mac.
That's very exciting, guys. And you know what? We're going to see that in a little bit. You might see some of that too while Joe is talking. You know, guys, I want the audience to be caught up with you and what you're doing. We're about to go into that, but also, folks, JerusalemTempleStudy.com, JerusalemTempleStudy.com. You want to see what Joe Good is doing there, and we'll touch on his book a little bit too. But as a recap, Rico, what have you been up to, man?
Man, I've been really for the last, I think, 10 years now, right, Joe? I've been studying with you. In 2009, you met me back then, and in 2010, I started studying with Joe. I called him. I had a need of bringing more balance or more concrete evidence and research into my understanding. And one of the best decisions I've ever made as an established teacher was getting myself a teacher so I could be accountable, so I could learn how to research. And it's been an incredible experience. Not only have I gained a teacher, but I've gained a best friend and a mentor. So I'm very happy. And he's spending a lot of time teaching me, sharing. He's welcomed me into his home. So I got to be honest, I'm blessed that God has put me in the path of Joe because I've learned a lot. And, you know, we're doing this together, but in reality, I hope someday I'll be able to learn all the research is done. So it's been really exciting the last 11 years since you've really seen it.
It's been exciting.
Wow.
One of the things we're working on is teaching Rico how to walk fast.
No, never happened. So for the audience, when we go to Israel, I went 2 years straight, back to back. I approached Joe and I said, Joe, I was taking my tours to Israel. And a quick story, I was taking my tours to Israel and I came back. He was there a week before me on his tour. And then when he came home, I was still there. And then I got home, we kind of caught up and he says, hey, Rico, how was Jerusalem? I said, it was great. And then he starts saying, did you go here? I said, no. Did you go there? I said, no. Did you go there? I said, no. And I said, wait a minute, let me start writing his stuff down. So we had I think it was 12 places, right, Joe?
I thought it was 17.
17. It was all related to the temple. And I didn't know.
Important places, okay?
Important.
Wow.
And he didn't even know about them.
I didn't even know about it. I'm going wait a minute. I went back to the kitchen and I told my wife, honey, I don't think we went to Jerusalem. And I invited Joe to teach me. So we went the first time for 12 days. And I told Joe,
purchased tickets before we got off the phone.
That's true.
Hey, all right. He was motivated.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not playing around. So I told Joe, hey, Joe, will you go to Israel? He goes, yeah. So we picked the dates. We got the tickets. And I told him, I want you to put me through a curriculum. You determine the content. You determine the amount. We will stay up until midnight from 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 teaching. He taught me a lot. We did that 2 years back to back. And I tell you, it was a great experience. Okay, so the problem is, Joe used to be a runner. He was a marathon runner, I think. I don't know. But he walks.
Well, he still looks like a runner.
Man. So he drove me crazy because, I'm the type of guy that if I'm walking with my teacher, as I'm walking, I'm learning. That was never the case with Joe. He was already gone by the time. And then I'm trying, Joe, where are you going? He just waits for me like this. And when we reach back to him, he takes off again. Anyway, it was interesting.
Well, so obviously Joe was your inspiration and a mentor. Rico, I would always love in your shows, because I actually got to film some of those in Studio B back in 2009. You'd say, hey, don't take my word for it. Research for yourself. Right. Did you get that from Mr. Joe Good?
Actually, no, but Joe taught me to be more concrete in how to research. I'm learning how to research. I'm learning how to study. I was jumping into the speculative type thing, and I didn't like that because then you have to try to prove your point instead of presenting the evidence. And what Joe did, he would show me information. One thing I remember, one particular topic that I had a disagreement with him, but it was not a disrespectful one. I would never disrespect my teacher. So what he did, he heard me out. He didn't tell me I was wrong, I was crazy. What he said was, hey, I got homework for you. And then it was the book, the Temple, Joe, when you told me to study about holiness, Kedusha. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing the homework because he got me the homework. And as I am going through the chapter, my answer to my argument was completely annihilated by the research. And I learned a big lesson. He didn't have to argue with me or debate about something that is true. He just pointed me out to the evidence so I could also learn it myself. And I respected that very much.
Well, that's a good leader. That's a good teacher. And he could have hammered you. Some people will do that. They have to be right no matter what. They'll lord it over people. And it sounds like he had the spirit of the Messiah as he taught and led you in the right direction. Now, Joe, we've been talking about you, brother. What have you been up to? And so glad that you're with us today as well.
Well, we have a weekly research meeting. Okay, and I've got people from literally all over, and these are some are engineers, but a lot of people. We got plumbers, we got carpenters, woodworkers, but all of us are researching the temple, and so we work in these texts. We work with maps, we work with photographs, we work. We work constantly. End of July, right at the beginning of August, the month of Elul, we had a major discovery that we did on the temple. We've been looking for a particular location for about 25 years. And all the pieces came together. And I'd say that we've got everything but a sign that says, this is the place. Okay, wow. We've got the archaeological evidence, we've got the evidence from the text, we've got the location, we've got everything that has come together. So for the past few months, I've been working on that. Now, in the midst of it, of course, we had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and that's always a busy time. And I think I had about 60 people here at my house. And so wow. This office literally could not get into it because we had people staying in it and everything. But that's been pretty much what's been going on.
Well, wow. Can I say something about Joe that he doesn't like brag about himself much, but
I gather that.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that Joe is even recognized by some of the major archaeologists in Israel. It's one of the legit temple teachers in the world, really.
Wow.
And we amongst the believers in Yeshua, we have a great resource that is not very common. And it's sad that it's not being used more. And this is something that what Joe has done that I'm glad I'm learning. He's taking every available information. The app, the way he designed it, was taking all the topography, geography, archaeology, history, rabbinical sources, biblical sources, put them together so that we can appeal to different types of audiences and demographics. And the research is being used, right? I just talked to Rabbi Persov the other day, Joe, that, yeah, they are presenting one of major rabbis, one of the leading authorities in the temple in Jerusalem. They're using our app as one of the sources to teach kids. So, I mean, it's a big deal. And it's thanks to the research that has been done by Joe and all the team that is putting together that, think about this. If they were building the temple today, we know the Messianic temple will be built. If they will be building the temple, they don't have a working model that is a scale and accurate.
Right.
Well, we do now. We have the one that Joe has been researching, and it's kind of overwhelming to think that, you know, the Lord is using him and us in a way that hopefully will be a blessing to the Jewish people.
You know, the app also is available in English, Spanish, and Hebrew.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, the rabbi that he just mentioned, Rabbi Mordecai Persov, actually translated all of the app is full of what we call info dots. Okay. So let's say that you're in the court of the women, and a little
let me show
will appear. Yeah, show
Joe, let me.
I was about to say, let's take a trip, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
Let's do it.
Let me share it so you can see it. There's going to be like a little bit of a music coming up when I hit here. But what, Joe? Go ahead, Joe. You hit the info dot.
So you see the little scroll, and here's an info dot. And this is from what we call the Mishnah. It's from Midot. Midot means measurements. Midot 2.5. It's the measurements of the temple. And it tells you that Ezrat Nashim, that's the court of the women, was 135 long by 135 wide. And then it goes on and describes this courtyard. Now you can read this text, but you'll see there were 4 chambers and it's 4 corners. So Rico, take us to the chamber of the wood.
Okay.
All right. So here's one of the chambers in the corners. This is called the Lishkat Ha'itzim, and Kohanim, or priests, that were disqualified because they had a blemish. Not because they had an impurity, but a blemish. They cannot serve in the inner courtyard. They can attend in the inner courtyard, and they have a special place that they attend. But in this court here, they would have wood. You might show, I think there's wood there in the corners there, and they have to inspect the wood. You can see they inspect the wood to make sure that there's no insects like termites, there's no mold, and these are the things that would disqualify the wood. They also want to make sure, while all woods are acceptable for the altar, you cannot use olive wood or grape, because that's the economy of the country. And you cannot use pine or any kind of, he's going to show you. We have the English, we have the Spanish, and we have the Hebrew. There's the Hebrew. And so, by the way, the rabbis were the ones that put the Hebrew in. But
really?
Because they're working with us, which is phenomenal. Wow. We have tremendous rabbis that are working with us, and we go back and forth. They ask us questions, we ask them questions, and it makes it real good. Let's see another chamber. Let's go across to the chamber of the Nazarites. Now, if you're reading Acts 21, and you in Acts 21, you have where Paul had taken a Nazir vow, and so it's a 7-day ceremony, but he has to eat his offerings as well as burn his hair in this chamber, so you can make it come alive. Do the info dot. And here it says the southeastern one was the Lishkat HaNitzim, for there the Nitzim, or the Nazarites, would boil their peace offerings and shave their hair and cast under the pot.
Wow.
So you can make the scripture literally come alive.
Wow.
You're able to go and see exactly where it was. This is to the dimensions. We discovered the cubit sizes in this particular courtyard. You have what's called a 5 handbreadths cubit, which is 19.2 inches long. But if you go up into the upper courtyard, you have a 23.04 inch cubit. It's called a 6 handbreadths cubit. And that, by the way, is listed for you in Ezekiel chapter 40, verse 5.
Wow.
Okay, Rico, let's go somewhere. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, it's amazing, guys. Wow, I can't wait to get it.
Let's go to, you see the floor, if you would allow me. The floor here in the, this is the latest discovery in the archaeological world. I'm going to stop it here so the music doesn't interfere. But the in the archaeological world, the sifting project, they began to take some of the trash in which the Muslims, when they were doing the halak samas, removing stuff illegally, they threw it in a particular place. The archaeologists began to develop a new way of archaeology sifting project. So therefore, they found a lot of tiles. There was a lady who's a convert who went to the United States. They began to play with the patterns, and they found evidence, and they come to the conclusion that some of those patterns that you have right there were actually some of the patterns of the floors of the temple. Once we discovered, I was in the city of David, one of my tours, and when I went to the city of David with my tour, they found it and they put it in the floor of the shop going before the city of David. So I took a picture of the validated archaeological evidence, and then we asked the people in the app who actually are responsible for making Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and some of those high-level, commercial movies, and they have a passion for the temple. So we asked them to put the floor in some of the places around the temple. Now, what's interesting is that Ori Peleg, she's a really good friends with Joe, and I got to meet her because of Joe. She saw the floor and she was blown away that they will put it in there. So what people don't realize, that an archaeological student, they have info dots and pictures of archaeological evidence throughout the temple app, that an archaeological student can actually see what it would look like. And if you put our virtual reality that we have, then you're able to actually see it in scale. So
wow.
Right now we have a working model that if they need a blueprint of what the floors would look like, we pretty much know what they are. So where do you want to go, Joe?
You mentioned Orit.
Yeah.
Orit Peleg Barkat. She is the leading authority in the world on what is called the Royal Stoa.
You want to go there?
The Royal Stoa is the entryway coming from the south. I mean, he's going to take us, and you got a little map that you can. All right, we're at the Royal Stoa. Let's go outside and then come in.
This is amazing, guys. Folks, you got to get this.
Okay.
Temple app.
Now,
amazing.
This is the southern steps, okay? And we're coming up to the southern wall of the temple. And for the people, the common people that were not priests, are going to enter by this massive stairway. And you go to Jerusalem, you can visit the stairway yourself. And on the western side of the southern wall, you have it's a big wall, huge wall. You have a double gate. That's the actual steps that they have uncovered. Wow. And I can guarantee you that Yeshua, when he went to the temple, this is the way he came. We have where Peter and John heal a man that is lame right here on these steps. He asked for alms. They say, we don't have any money. We've already given it away. But what we have, we give to you. And the man starts dancing on these steps. Now, the steps are really unique because they're not uniform in size. So you have a long one, you have short, short, a long, short, long, short, 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 long. And it's that way so that the people would not run into the temple. They have to watch where they're going. All right, let's go to the double gate. Now, the double gate is what is called in the New Testament the beautiful gate. And on the outside, this is the way it looked. Okay, I mean, this is with the lintels, the spacing stones, that little arch you have above, it's right there. And this is actual drawings done by the archaeologists of how they feel these gates look. Okay, and so you can see everything we document as we go.
By the way, if I may, Joe, please keep in mind to the audience that when we put a picture, you got to see it in the app. It's been validated not only by the archaeological, but by the archaeological evidence, but also by modern archaeologists who have looked at it. And actually, Joe and I, we changed things in the app based on their suggestions. So therefore, Joe is working constantly with the archaeologists that he knows to make sure that we have the most updated, correct information, so that anyone who knows temple or archaeology will be able to look at it and say, that's legit. Even Dan Bahat, when he saw the app, I showed Dan Bahat, who is a leading authority on the Western Wall for like 35 years. He saw the app and he recognized that we added things there that normal people in the West don't even think about. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so we have the beautiful gate that is, we're going through, and when we get inside, now look up, you see that there are these little domes, there are 8 of them.
Wow.
They're still there. Now, very, very few people have been down inside this. Orit Peleg Barkat has been in there once. I've been in here 3 times. This is what the domes actually look like. And you can see how beautiful they are. There, that is an actual fragment. This is up at Haifa. Professor Ronnie Reich is one of the leading authorities, and all of this is his work right here. And but this is why the gate was called the beautiful gate, because of these domes inside. And it's really beautiful. Now we're going to ascend up to the temple, and these tunnels are accurate.
What a journey! Wow.
All right, now we're going to come out, and we're going to ascend up to the stairs, and we're going to turn around and look, and this is the royal stoa. Okay, so it is gigantic. It was the largest stoa in the ancient world. Nothing in Rome even came close to it. It's described by Josephus in several different locations. Josephus was he was a priest. We don't know if he served as a priest, but he was from a priestly family, knew the priestly things, and he was a general in their army. He was the general of the Jewish rebels against Rome in the north. And he ended up, he surrendered to them, and then he wrote histories on the Jewish people, several major works, and he describes this royal stoa. Now, the royal stoa is also called Hanut, and it's named after the high priest Hanan, which in Greek is Ananias. Ananias is one of the high priests that was involved in the trials of Yeshua. Wow. Okay, and you can see this is massive. This is where all the animals were sold.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Rico, let's take them down. Let's show one other thing here, and then we'll go into the inner courtyards and things. But let's go up to the trumpeting stuff.
Okay.
This will blow you away.
I think it's amazing, guys, that you not only have this virtual experience, but you have actual photographs of the archaeological finds. What an incredible tool. And you say this is in English and Spanish and in Hebrew.
Right.
Amazing. Right. Amazing.
Well, I got to tell you that I'm going to take credit for that one. I told Joe and I told Yarom, the guy who designed it, I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we can take pictures and put them in? He goes, we could do that. Great. So some of those pictures I took myself or Joe took. So These are not pictures we took from the internet. These are pictures that, we took, I think except for one. But it's kind of cool because anyone can see what it looked like right there. And Joe's going to tell you what that is. But then you're going to see the picture to connect the archaeology. And we'll tell you exactly where it is. So if you go to Israel by yourself, you know where it is. Go ahead, Joe.
Wow.
Okay. We're at the southwestern corner of the Temple Mount. And Josephus describes that there was a location that was called the place of the trumpeting stone. And every Shabbat, every Sabbath, before the Shabbat would start, a priest would come up here and he would blast on a silver trumpet, not a shofar, on a silver trumpet called a Hatikva, and it would let the people know that the Sabbath would be starting shortly. And then he's going to blow up when it officially starts. Now, the archaeologist, Dr. Benjamin Mazar, in 1967, after Israel got the Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, they began to excavate this area. And at the southwestern corner, they found a stone that was inscribed that said, "To the place," or "to the house of the trumpeting." And then the rest of the inscription was broken off. We know what this inscription says. It says to divide between, or to separate between, the holy and the common. And so literally, if you go to the southwestern corner, you'll see this. And this is a model of what they found. You see the stone, look how it is shaped because it's at the top of the wall. And there's the trumpeting stone. And why we lost part of it is Charles Warren, Captain Charles Warren from the Palestine Exploration Fund back in 1867. He sunk a shaft there, studying that corner, and his dynamite blew part of the stone up. But they found this, and we've got the actual location. And when you see, if you look at the top of the wall, our wall is structured just like this stone. I mean, look at the detail. And there's your trumpeting stone. And if you get close, you can even see the Hebrew inscription.
And then we also give you the rabbinical resources that tell you about the protocol, how they used to blow the trumpets in the temple and how it was done. So one of the things we try to do is educate people with the archaeology, the history, as we also have Josephus as the other resource, so that you're seeing that we're validating every piece of information by minimum 2 or 3 witnesses: archaeology, geography, location, rabbinical sources, and biblical sources. So that's very important.
This app should be a must for every Bible college and every congregation. I mean, it's amazing. Wow. Talk about taking people there, folks. And again, you can go to the App Store and get this on Android or on iPhone. And man, I'll tell you, guys, I'm blown away. I'm excited about it.
If you want, it's great for congregations to have it. It's great for colleges to have it, but the individual should have it.
Yeah.
Because if you want to study the scripture, this will make it come alive. It will give you a perspective that you cannot get from just reading the text. And so it will accelerate your learning. And if you have groups that come over for study, you can put it on a television. You can, throw it from your phone or your iPad or your Android right to a television, a big screen, and take people through, and they can ask their questions and you can take them around.
Okay, I've got a request, guys. I got a request. Can you take me to the outer gates?
Which ones?
Yeah, which ones?
It's a popular thing to hear, growing up in the faith if you have, talking about the praise and all those things. So many people make a correlation of worship and the Holy of Holies and the different levels of coming in, so to speak. Educate us on that with this.
Okay, Joe, go ahead with the Psalms of Ascent.
Okay. The Psalms of Ascent are going to be Psalms 116, excuse me, 116, 120 through 35.
Yes.
And so the Psalms of Ascent, in Hebrew, you say Shir Hamalot. And right here, there are 15 of those Psalms. We're going up from the court of the women, and there are 15 steps here. And their Passover meal, there are 15 steps to the Passover meal. All of it relates to I am ascending to God. All right. In this courtyard that we're in, this is the courtyard. It's called the court of the women, but it's really the court of assembly. This is where all the men, women, and children will be. And when we go past this, we have a huge gate here, and this is the Nicanor gate. Okay, so when you enter in through this gate, you are in the court. It's what in Hebrew it's called the Garden of Eden.
Wow.
Okay, it's the return to the Garden of Eden. Well, you see this area right here. Rico, go down and show them the court. All right, this area right here. This is 11 cubits wide, and this is called the Ezrat Israel, the court of Israel. The delegations from all the districts of Israel. There are 24 districts of Israel. And you might remember in the book of Revelation, there are 24 thrones and so forth. There were 24 districts, and each district each week sends a delegation. Now, the delegation is called the Ma'amad. It means, Ma'amad means standing men. And they're going to stand here and pray the standing prayers, the Amidah. They're all from the same word. The priest that's been selected to burn incense inside the temple building is burning the incense and praying the Amidah himself. Right past this, Brant, I think this is going to blow you away. Show them the Dukhan.
I'm already there, guys. This is such a delight.
Okay. Now, the Dukhan, he's going to turn and look down it, okay? It's a platform of 3 steps on top of a 1 cubit high step. You see it? And it goes all the way across the courtyard.
Wow.
That's where your Levitical choir stood. All right. Now, there's a rule that you cannot turn your back on the Holy of Holies when you're in this courtyard. But there are 2 exceptions to the rule. The first exception is the 13 priests that do the morning service. They stand on the 12 steps going into the temple building, and they do the priestly blessing. And they have their back to the Holy of Holies because the blessing is not coming from them, it's coming through them to the people. Now, we used to think that the choir sang praises to God. Okay? However, in Midot, it's very distinct in telling us that the stairs were configured like this, meaning that the choir, all Levites, had their backs to the Holy of Holies, which means that they weren't singing to God, but the songs were coming through them from God to teach the people how to worship.
Wow.
Okay.
It changes the whole perspective of the way we were talking about worship. And
Yes.
the temple allows you to get a glimpse of how to approach God in a way of a protocol. It's like the Lord of Israel is telling you, this is what I like. This is what I want. This is how I want you to know who I am. And this is what I want you to do to please me and to serve me. It was a really overwhelming type of understanding of how to approach him in a protocol.
Rico, is that the northern wicket to the Nicanor?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Wow, guys.
You see this doorway right in front of us. There's 3 gates at the Nicanor. Now, the middle gate, look up, is extremely big. And there's a miracle that is associated with this gate. Yeah, it's 50 cubits high. 50 cubits, that is about 10 stories. Okay,
Oh
so
my
that's huge.
Whoa.
In this northern wicket, this is where a woman that had a baby is going to stand at the dedication of that baby. And so that's where Mary would have stood. A woman that's accused of adultery will stand there.
On the other side, correct?
What's that?
On the other side, right?
No, this is on the other side.
Right here.
No, Rico, go back through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
Yes, get the gate to open. Okay, gate's going to open. All right, now, the individual cannot go into this area. Okay, a woman that's had a baby has an impurity. Women are not allowed in this courtyard at all.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
A leper is going to stand here, but he stands right at the edge, and so that he can put his thumb across. He can bend his head and turn his head, and he's going to turn his head. It's even specific. He has the head pointed to the south, but his face is pointed to the west, and a priest will drop blood into his ear right here. He's going to put blood on his thumb, his right thumb, and his right toe. Now, here's the catch. In the Torah, in the first 5 books, it tells us that he cannot come into this courtyard. But his ceremony of putting the blood on his toe, his thumb, and his ear has to be conducted in this courtyard. It all has to do with holiness. In Hebrew, holiness is called kedusha. And so to understand kedusha is a key to understanding everything in the Bible. The temple, do you know, Brant, what the temple is called in Hebrew?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's called Beit, that's house. Beit Hamikdash, okay? The word for holy is kadosh. Mikdash comes from kadosh, house of holiness. This is where God teaches us about holiness, is here at the temple.
Wow.
And so, look up at the temple building.
It's amazing, guys. Wow.
How high do you think that is, Brant?
Oh my goodness, 70 feet, 50 feet?
Oh, come on. It's
Tell
100
me.
cubits high.
Oh,
That
wow.
is equivalent to a 22-story building today.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
That doorway, you see that doorway?
Uh-huh.
Okay. That doorway is called the Ulam. So it's called the Shor HaUlam, the gate of the porch, the Ulam. All right. Now you see there's a curtain there. That curtain is 8 stories high.
Wow.
All right.
8 stories high. That
8
curtain,
stories high.
8 stories high.
Rico, don't run us through, but take us in through the parochial.
Okay.
Please do.
Now this curtain has a special name. It's called the heavens, and because it was decorated with like the Milky Way, okay, and here it's going to talk about the before these hung a veil of equal length, the Babylonian tapestry, and it goes through Josephus's description of it, and we have another place that's described called the letter of Aristeas. And now let me ask you, how many veils were in the temple building?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you another question.
I know.
Mr. Cartier.
By the way, this is an important question because everyone argues about which veil rented during the time when Yeshua died.
See, I was going to ask that.
If you do not understand about temple structure, temple holiness, and temple language, you would assume that is the one in the Holy Holies. But there were 4 veils in the temple building. Only on the temple building, according to the research, there were 13 veils veils around the area and the other buildings, but in the temple building there were 4, and there was 2 dividing the holy from the holy of holies that I'm going to show you right now. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So you have this veil, the 2 he's about to show you, and then 1 veil in the attic. Wow. And all the veils were 8 stories high. Okay. So now we're on the porch, and we're going to go through into what's called the Hekal, or it's also called the HaKodesh, the holy place. And this is where the menorah is, the 7 branch candlesticks, the 12 breads. It's called the table of the face. A lot of times it's translated as showbread, but literally it's table of the face, or bread of the face. And there are 12 loaves there.
Wow.
And if you notice, we're giving you all the biblical evidence and also extra biblical sources to show you the information.
Wow. Now, only 1 veil tore though, right?
Right.
But that was an 8-story high veil?
Yeah. Here's another question for you. Was that the first time the veil tore?
Well, obviously not. If you're talking about, I thought it was.
Well, it tore in the first temple period during the days of King Uzziah, when he goes in and burns incense and is struck with leprosy. The veil of the temple tore.
Wow.
Right. Now you see, you see there's the front veil, and now we have a back veil. Okay. And we have a 1 cubit space in between the veils. This is called the Traxine, and only the high priest can come back here. Okay. So he's going down. This is how the high priest would have gone on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. And this is the Holy of Holies, and it's set up as it was in the Second Temple era. There was nothing inside the room. Okay, but look at all the info dots. I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of information. And this is from the Mishnah, the Tractate Yoma, which deals with Yom Kippur. And here's from Exodus 25, Exodus 10, we've got Exodus 28. Let's see, more from 28. So it takes you through. Look up.
Wow.
All right. Now you see those slots, or those rectangles?
Yes.
All right. We're told in the Mishnah that every 7 years they let young priests down in wicker baskets. Now the wicker baskets were constructed where they could not look to the right, they could not look to the left, and they could not see behind them. All they would be able to see is the wall. And they're going to clean the wall and inspect for any repair that needs to be done.
Wow.
Okay. Now this room is 8 stories high. It's 40 cubits. And he's going to take us to the upper chamber now.
Amazing.
Let me go back so you can see it better. This is the second story in the temple. And look, the veil on the second story was huge. So there were 4 veils. Then when you go through, look at the floor, how beautiful. When you go through,
beautiful,
you see the mechanism that allows the priest to be let down to clean the walls.
Also, King Josiah was, as a baby, was hidden in this room because only priests are allowed to come in here. And it kept him safe from his grandmother, who would have killed him.
Wow. So the veil upstairs, how high was that?
They're all 40 cubits. They're all 8 stories.
All of them. All of them. Wow.
So which one of the veils tore?
Well, we hear it's the Holy of Holies that tore.
It wasn't the Holy of Holies.
That's what we assume. That's what you hear. What you guys tell me?
There were 4 veils. Okay.
I know.
What we're told in the book, I believe it's in the book of Mark, it says the heavens were rent and the veil of the temple was torn. And that's Hebrew parallelism. That veil on the outside is called the heavens.
Yes, yes.
And so it was the veil, the outer veil that tore.
Wow.
So the one that rented was this one right here. Hey, Joe, tell them a little bit about the lintel that holds this veil together. That's a cool story.
You talking about the gold boar?
Yeah.
Okay. In Josephus, we're told that they had a massive gold boar, and the gold boar was inside, it's solid gold, but it was inside a hollowed out log that had been ornately carved and everything and hung across the top. And only the high priest knew that the gold was inside. And in fact, when I'm trying to think, the Roman, he's part of the triumvirate, the Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus.
Right, Crassus, yes.
And when Crassus comes, he's going to rob the temple, and the high priest gave him that boar. And it was worth, I'm sure, millions. And
14 million, according to our
not rob the temple, but he turned around and robbed the temple, left from there, goes to fight against the Parthians in modern day Persia. Right. They capture him, and the way they killed him was they poured molten gold down his throat. Don't steal from the temple.
Wow.
According to
quite a message.
According to our calculations, it would have been, to modern day standards of price, $14 million. Just the beam. It was a beam with a gold bar inside. That's according to today's gold price. That's crazy. That's just the beam. That's not the veil. That's just the beam holding the veil. So as you can see,
amazing, guys.
As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that we can learn. And one of the things that I want to show you, and I'm sure Joe can talk to you for hours, but this is something that we added. By the way, for the audience, so you know, we're always looking. There's a research team that Joe put together, and we're looking to update the temple all the time. So in 5 years, when the funds come in, we're looking for people who can donate so that we're able to continue to make it as accurate, continue to move forward, make it better. We keep researching. We want to add the services. Eventually we have a virtual reality one that you are actually inside of it. You can see it to scale, and we're able to walk with it. So eventually what we want to do is get the funds necessary to start doing all the services, to have the choir, to have them, the priest, to have the offerings, so we can teach people using the Bible according how it was done in the temple. The visuals will really dramatically change our perception of what the Bible really talks about. But if I go here in the map, this is the map of Jerusalem. This is an accurate map of the city of Jerusalem in the 1st century, showing us the valleys. So topographically, if I go to this one here in the bottom, it'll show you the city of Jerusalem from the east to west. And when you see in front is the Kidron Valley, and then you can see all the valleys, and then you can go to the bottom over there to the Pool of Siloam. And this is a very important discovery that Joe is going to be bragging about, because I haven't been there yet. So this is the Pool of Siloam. And if you do any of the stories in the Bible, you know that Yeshua did a miracle here, okay? So what we did, we put it in here. Now we can walk it. In the picture that you're going to see here, if you have internet, this will work. The picture, I took it. I took that picture, we'll put it there. And then we're going to be walking up. Now, this is very significant because this street that you see right here has been found. I've seen it. I've stepped on it. But Joe walked all the way through it. Now, I'm going to go walk a little bit up. Then Joe is going to take off from here.
Now Joe, did you run it or did you walk it?
I walked this one.
You walked it.
I have run this path. Okay.
But look, guys, this is the significant part of this, guys. Look.
Wow.
This is archaeology. Now, let me give you at a glimpse what this means. First time we stepped on it, that was like 3 years ago now when I went to Israel. 4 years now, Joe, when I went with Israel with Joe for the second time. And they were discovering it. We will go underneath this particular step. There's a sewer system that we walk all the way from the Shiloach to all the way to the city of David underneath.
It's not a sewer system. It's water drainage.
A water drains. I'm sorry. A water drain from the Ethiopian Valley that goes all the way to the southwest corner where you have the Trumpeting storm. Southwest corner. You come out of there. So, and it's really amazing because that's one of the valleys in Jerusalem. So Herod, he put a first century street and underneath the water drain. So when it will rain, it will go under and they can use the water. Anyway, so one of the times that we were there with Joe, we were walking up that little drainage system and there were two people walking south and we were walking up. You never walk south in there. There's not enough room. We ended up next to a door to my left, and I heard stuff above. And you learn when you're in Israel and you go there with the purpose of learning, every time you start hearing hammering and stuff like that is archaeological evidence. Wow. So I asked the people and what was going on. So, well, they got some stuff over there. They're archaeological students and we follow them. Okay. And when we saw it, I was blown away because I had the privilege to step on the first century road that was part of the temple where Peter, John, James, Yeshua, and all of them may have walked. And it was not open to the public yet.
They would have walked, not may have walked. They would have walked.
They would have walked.
Maybe.
That was one of the main entrances to the temple. I had a chance to step on that. Now, this is towards the Pool of Siloam, walking up, but then Joe was able to walk all the way to the discoveries now. So go ahead, Joe, and tell us what you found.
Okay, you see in this picture, just leave it in the picture for a moment. You see there's some yellow lights.
Yes.
Okay. The archaeologists, first off, Josephus said that when the Romans entered the city, they were killing everyone. And so people fled to the water channel, meaning the water channel under the street. And they were down there hiding for days. The Romans could hear them above. So everywhere you see a yellow light, that's where Roman crews broke the street open to drop into the channel and kill them. Have you seen where a golden bell was found that they believe is a bell from off the priestly garment? Okay, that was found by Eli Shikron, and it was found in that water channel. They found a Roman sword. They found all kinds of things, but the Romans pursued them down in and slaughtered the people down there. Wow. Now, this road is called the Pilgrim's Road. And if I can, for just a moment, the greatest ceremony of the year is the Festival of Sukkot, or what people wrongly called tabernacles should be called booths. And the Festival of Sukkot had the greatest temple ceremonies. And the big ceremony of the morning was called the Beit HaShoeva, the house of the water point, where the high priest and the deputy high priest came down to the pool you just saw. We're right up from the pool. We're only about 50 yards from that pool. Wow. And you want to show them the pool again? Or I'll tell you what, let's go back to that. And
very exciting, guys, and folks who are joining us. You know, as we're winding down, I can't encourage you enough to download the Temple app. And as you're taking us on this incredible journey, Rico and Joe, where can people go to give to this effort, to expand this and to keep this evolving? Is there a website? What's the best way to give to this project, guys?
Well, you can go either wisdomandtorah.com and make a note that it's for the Temple app, or you can go to Joe's website. Either way, it'll get to the hands that we need to do it in order to keep expanding and keep adding. Remember that the purpose of the app is for education, to help the body of Messiah get all the tools. Listen, well, we have a temple course every year in Orlando. Joe and I, we teach there every January, except for last year. And we've seen the differences in people on their understanding, and the level has really skyrocketed.
Wow. I've already learned some. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when they read something in the Bible, they're reading it from the outside in. Right. So the moment you see the temple and you're walking through it, now you can relate what you're reading to what the geography looks like. And it changes everything. And this is something that I learned with Joe the first time I went to Jerusalem with him. And we went to the temple model in the Jerusalem Museum. We spent about 3 hours there. He was teaching me station for station. And if I would have left right after that, I would have been perfectly happy, because I understood more in those 3 hours about temple geography, biblical context, that he gave me the blueprint to read and understand the Bible better. But I needed to be aware of the surrounding areas and the geographical elements that we don't see when we read the Bible. And that's what this is designed to do, specifically for children and young people. They're able to go through, and you can play games with them, showing them, okay, where is this location? Show me what this is, and look at the Bible and go from there. And I think it will really edify us and help us interact. I believe every church should have one of these when they start teaching about the first century.
Talk about context. Absolutely amazing. Wonderful. Guys, we have only a couple minutes left. I have a feeling we need to do this a bit more. Can't wait to hear about your book too, Measure the Pattern, Brother Good. And I'm assuming Measure the Pattern. Can you tell us a little bit about that when they experience that on your website as well?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, or you can order it directly from us. But what it's covering is the buildings that surround the inner courtyard. So primarily 5 structures. I'm working on volume 2 now, which is going to go into detail on the inner courtyard, and then we'll expand it out to the court of the women, the outer court, and then places like the Shiloh Pool. Where did they kill the red heifer? All of these various things, trying to tie them in. And it's full with charts, illustrations, the 13 gates to the temple, and it goes through these gates and explains as much as we understand about the function and the purpose of these gates, as well as the various chambers.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Fantastic show. We have to have 12 more of them, gentlemen. The Temple app is amazing. And both Rico Cortes and Joe Good, these are longtime favorites of GLC. Reconnect with them. You've been seeing their websites. Connect again today. Get behind this incredible project and watch for more from Rico Cortes and Joe Good right here on GLC. We'll see you next time.